Hey everybody, it's Lavender Town, and today I'm going to be taking childhood art and drawing it again to see all the progress that I've made throughout my entire life. I thought this would be good because we're reaching the end of this year, and so it seemed right to talk about progress and that kind of thing. But first, I want to do a quick shout out for this video's sponsor, Amino. Amino is the very best place to connect with people who share your interests and has communities for just about everything you can imagine. I'm signed up for a bunch, including one for comic artists, tea, and the art and OCs one. There's even one for this channel. These communities are generally really active and passionate, and there seems to always be people on them for you to hang out with. The chat rooms have lots of fun themes on them, so it's really easy to jump in and start making friends. You don't have to do any awkward small talk and that kind of thing. It also has polls, challenges, and quizzes, which is my favorite part, and it makes it really fun. If you're really into art and creating your own characters, definitely check out the Art and OC's Amino, or check out the Amino for this channel. There's even an event on the Arts and OC Amino called the Redraw event that's very similar to this video, so you might want to check that out. Okay, so now's the time. I'm going to show you some of my very earliest childhood art that I could find. This was a pen drawing that I found in a Harry Potter diary that I had. So it appears to be a drawing of two girls playing Quidditch. I obviously had Harry Potter on the brain, and one of them is jumping up to catch the snitch and to avoid a bludger, and the other one has a rain cloud over her head because she is lost. That's about as much as I can figure out over this mess, so I'm going to try to recreate it and make it look like a really cool scene and use everything that I've learned from this point on, just to sort of celebrate all the years of practice and that kind of thing, and also to hopefully encourage some of you guys, whatever your art level is at, so you just need to know that as long as you keep working, you're always improving, so you should never be too discouraged, because, you know, it doesn't matter where you start from. You will eventually get to where you want to be. So anyway, all that mushy stuff aside, I'm starting to redraw it, and obviously I'm already changing a lot about the faces and the poses. I'm going to try to keep it as true to the drawing as possible while also showing all the things, you know, all the ways that I draw now. I'm going to look up a reference of a Quidditch uniform off screen and reference some of that to get a little more detail. I'm also changing it to, I'm changing the pose so that she's not like perfectly stiff armed and legged. Of course, I just did a video on posing last week, and as you can see, I was not a naturally good person at posing. That's something I still struggle with, and obviously when I was a kid, I just drew, they're basically stick figures that have a little more dimensionality to them. There's not a lot of complexity there. So I'm trying to draw the jump off the broom looking a little more dynamic than it did before. It's not super hard to improve upon art this old, and I was actually a little bit torn between doing this and doing a redraw of a drawing from just a year ago. Now, that's a lot scarier because then you have to really confront whether you've made significant improvement within a much shorter period of time. But I do think that that's something I should do, just because that is a much better gauge of how well you're improving on a more, I guess, a less extreme basis. This is obviously going to be improved because I'm not a child anymore. But anyhow, once I'm done with the sketch, I'm going to start inking, and I had my canvas at too low of a resolution. A lot of you guys ask me what the size of my canvases are. Typically I start with around a HD video, 1080p by 1920 or whatever it is, and then I double it. So that's the answer if you guys want to know. But basically, just increase your canvas size if you feel like it's too, usually it's too small and you run into issues with it being your line art looking clunky and stuff. Just make it bigger, and just feel it out. And unless you're doing something that needs to be a special size, then you can just really do whatever feels best. Yeah. Anyhow, so I did that here. I increased the canvas size because my inking was looking like trash, and it immediately made it feel a lot better. And like I said, I've tried to incorporate more interesting outfits, not just a weird long sleeve t-shirt and pants like I did in the original. And I'm going to show the moment right before she makes contact with the snitch because I feel like that's a more exciting image as well. It's really funny to try to critique this drawing because, it's one of those things, I wasn't even thinking about being critiqued when I was drawing this. I probably didn't even expect anyone to ever see it. So it's weird now to think that, when I was scribbling this into my book by myself, that one day, like hundreds of thousands of people would eventually see it. But, man, that's just the mysterious nature of life, I guess. So I'm keeping the balloons and the confetti because I think that's hilarious. I mean, she's just barely caught the snitch in the first picture, and she's just about to in this one, and yet there's already like a celebration going down, though I guess it is a magical world, so I suppose it's possible that could happen, though I definitely never saw it really in the Harry Potter universe. And I like the cartoony like rain cloud of sadness that was over the other seeker, so I kept that. I looked up a picture of a bludger, so it's not just a generic looking ball. I actually wondered at first if it was the quaffle because I'm a fool and I didn't, obviously I should have been able to tell, but yeah, my drawing was just way too simple back then for it to be clearly communicating almost anything. And so I added a little details onto that so it would be a little bit more clear. I'm not having it firing straight at the other seeker anymore because, at least in the movies, the bludgers, they always seem to move at a bit of a curve towards the specific target. So if I'm dodging it, or not me, but like this character who's catching the snitch, if they're dodging it, then it probably wouldn't be going straight for the other seeker. But I guess it depends on how hard the beater hit it. I'm getting distracted. Anyway, I just thought it would look better if it was sort of arcing over where she would be sitting before. It gives it a little more drama, I think. I'm sort of doing a skateboarding stance for the other girl on her broom. I wanted them to look different. They looked really samey in the original picture because I didn't know how to do multiple poses. So now, of course, I'm going to utilize the fact that I can do that now. And I tried to keep her puffy looking hair because I thought that was kind of interesting. Again, it's interesting. I was so bad at drawing that like it's kind of unclear what I was trying to draw in a lot of cases, so I really had to make a lot of guesses and just try to remember what I would have thought was cool back then. Because this character's a Gryffindor, I thought the other one should probably be a Slytherin. This is the most famous rivalry in the series, and I tried to do some other clouds other than just the rain cloud because I thought that would be a little better. And just generally I'm trying to make it feel a bit more like it could be a professional illustration instead of a scribble in a diary. Just putting a little more care into everything, and obviously it's digital, and yeah, it's really hard to compare these two. It's such a world of difference, and it's really weird to think about that there was ever a point that like drawing felt so different to me. It's so like second nature to me now. Obviously I have difficult days and everything like that, and I still make mistakes like crazy, but you can tell that the other one took me like a really long time. And I really, struggled with those faces and everything. And it's just, it's interesting to think back on. If you're ever feeling super discouraged about your art, just look back on your very first drawings that you made when you were a child. I mean, like, you were combating, like, a lack of motor skills and not even being able to hold your pencil right and all that kind of stuff. So it might make you feel a little bit more encouraged about how far you've come. At this point, I'm moving all the little elements around. I'm moving everything closer because I felt like, just like in the original picture, everything was like had too much empty space around it. The negative space wasn't being used well, and it makes more sense within the narrative of the story that they'd be close together because they're both going for the same objective. So I moved them closer together. I also pushed her a little bit higher to do an even more dramatic reach for the snitch. I thought that would be cool. And that's one of the benefits of digital. You can just sort of scoot things around until it looks as good as possible. Sorry, traditional artists. I know that's probably a little painful because when you want to just scooch something over in traditional, you literally can't. I mean, I used to sometimes I would cut around in a traditional picture and move one character closer to the other and then just like copy it in a copy machine, but that was only for like absolute emergencies or something like that. Now I'm just dealing with colors, so I'm starting off with some obviously there's no colors in the original picture, but I can assume through context what sort of colors we would be seeing. The first character seems to have dark hair, and the other character seems to have light hair, so I know that much. I know that the winning character is a Gryffindor, thus the non-winning character must be some other house, probably Slytherin, because, That was, like, back in those days, nobody even talked about Hufflepuff and Ravenclaw. I would have been devastated to find out I was a Ravenclaw back then, because, like seriously, they were so neglected. Like, I think only, like, 1 or 2 of the books had come out at that point, or at least that I had read. So, yeah. Yeah, I'm just keeping everything to what their colors, like, should naturally be, and then I'm going to do some dramatic lighting stuff, because I feel like that's the best way to really show the kind of, like, advancement my art has made. You know, I don't always do super dramatic lighting stuff, but I'm playing around with soft light and hard light, multiply layers, that kind of thing, just to try to make a really fun, colorful and interesting image. So while I'm still working on the coloring, I'm going to talk a little bit about what my resolutions are for the year, at least that have to do with art, because, I mean, I'm not sure if you guys would be interested in everything else, but my drawing resolutions this year are, I'm hoping to expand my style. It's been a long time since I've been doing any other styles. I think I'll mostly do that on my own time, but maybe you guys will see a peek of that. I'm also going to try to challenge myself to do 2 videos a week and stick to it in 2018. I feel like that'll be really good for the channel. It'll be more fun for you guys, and it's something I'm constantly trying to do. I was constantly trying to do last year, well, this year, I guess, in 2017, and I just couldn't commit to it. I really want to commit to it for 2018 and make sure that that's something that's consistently happening. So those are like some of the biggest things. I'm also hoping to get my comic Unfamiliar like pretty far along the plot line, the like core plot line. There's been so much buildup in it, and I'm just dying to get to the central issue of the thing, and I think that that's something that would be quite easily achievable for this coming year. I also want to just experiment with doing some more traditional stuff outside of digital. I'm looking into getting a tripod for my phone, so I can take some videos of me doing traditional art, and yeah, basically just trying to challenge myself to do some new things and try to be a better artist and all of that. So yeah, definitely let me know what you guys are doing for the new year, what your goals are art-wise, and all of that. And yeah, this picture is wrapping up. I'm trying to make it look soft and cool and interesting. I'm using a lot of blues and purples, and you can see that this is the final result. There's still tons of things that I'd like to change, but when I look back at the old one, it does feel really good to know that all these years of drawing have not been a waste. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys are having great holidays and all of that, and I'm finally not sick, so I hope you guys aren't sick either. That was terrible. I feel like I had that cold forever. Anyway, I'll see you later with another video very soon. Thank you to my patrons, including Blep, Scott Peterson, Weeb, Code, Ellie Quiznak, Miss Misu, BB Dave, Gaia, Cato Cat, Christy Stewart, Paynamo, Elizabeth Album, Calpompone, Rebel B, Taka, Disweet12, Harry Kitty Cat, Isabella Spooky, Death Global Zone, Lovely, Lachlan MD, Mystic, Vilka, Enzo Jobert, Your Boy ST, JJ Jade, Laura Buter, Super Pixel, Angela Taylor, Hallman Kearney, Pastel G-Man, and Addie Visual. Thank you guys so much for your support.